I don't know what episode this is when it comes to my memory log against dementia for you, my future self. But I've contemplated a lot about why I care so much about winning and where the spirit of competition or my competitiveness started off from. And the most simplest form I can think of is like playing tag with friends on the street, or handball with your cousin Tanya in the front yard, and arguing on rules and any edge we can get. I remember playing Uno, Sorry, Dominoes, War, Go Fish with your Uncle Derek, who is only about 19 years older than yourself. So it's a bit of a older brother / uncle, and your Grandpa Robert. And I remember them being so hard on you that they would never let you win. And that's all you want to do is win. I remember having the first Nintendo and playing games wanting to get the highest score, or Tecmo Bowl. I remember growing up on the streets of Covina, and I lived off of Albertson, and my friend Ryan, all we did was either play basketball on my Laker hoop in the on front of the garage, play tape ball with a broomstick and a makeshift ball with masking tape, or football in the streets against other guys in different parts of the streets. Like, it was basically Sandlot, but in the streets of Covina, the movie Sandlot, that is. I guess it has to have an origin to sport. That's why I care about sports so much, I guess. It's like I have that fire in my chest to win. And now that I'm older, it's not necessarily the actual winning or the trophy or the medal. Now that I've matured, it's more about I am pulled to the preparation and then the competition as a evaluation of your preparation. Because I even looked at school as a bit of a competition. Like, I wanted the grade, which then I thought was to compare myself among others, but I guess sport has always put me in competition with myself and whatever progress I have made. And I think when I look to my father, he was basically the biggest superhero of all time in my life. Like, he would always be lifting weights in the gym, the strongest, the fastest, smartest guy that I was always around. And we always had this thing going that, like, he would tell me, much like I tell my daughter now, you'll never beat me in a race. And I remember, as young as I could think, we would always race no matter what, and he'd always kick my ass. And I remember we made a bet when I was really young, and he goes, the day that you could beat me in a race, I'll give you $100 bill. And I remember thinking, I mean, in the 80s, it's a lot of money. And I remember trying to race him every single chance I could, whether it be at a grocery store, a park, racing to the door, at a family event. I'd always test him, and he'd always beat me. But the difference is, after the years went by, he'd only beat me by so much. Before, it was like a lot, like 10 yards or more, and then it started getting slower or closer and closer. And we'd always have this particular race that gave me a really good measure of where I was, and it was on the street Dexter and Cedar. So it'd be from Cedar to Albertson on Dexter, in the street, middle of the street, that is. And there was a time I moved to Northern California, and I guess because I thought I was too cool, and suddenly we stopped racing. But within that time that we stopped racing, I was in high school, and I kind of matured, and I was playing football, I was wrestling, and I didn't know if I could beat my father, but I had this found confidence that I wanted to race him at the age of 16. I think it was my 16th birthday. And the whole family made it a big deal to go to the local high school. It was going to be a 100-yard dash. And my little brother was there, Michael, and my mom, my dad. My dad found his running shoes in the closet, and I think I just had some whatever shoes. And we started the race. And I remember when we took off, I was so nervous. And my dad got a good jump, and he was ahead of me. But then I noticed that was the max. He was at his full RPM, and I had a little bit of extra in me. And there came a point when we got to about 50 yards, and right before I was about to kick in the afterburners, my dad was pushing so dang hard that he ran out of his shoes. Literally ran out of his shoes. And then I beat him. You would have thought that would have been like the end of my life, in the best of senses, because like, spend 16 years to try to beat your dad in a race. And my mom and even my dad, we talk about it now, and it's like the funniest thing. My dad pushed so hard that he ran out of his shoes. And it's funny because now I continue that with my daughter. And I let her know she will never be able to beat me in a race for the rest of her life. Yeah. I was the type to be on a pitching mound, crying because the defense behind me wasn't holding up their end of the deal. While we were losing a baseball game. Everybody else would be worried about snacks and the Gatorade after a baseball game. Little League, obviously. And I'd be by myself getting in trouble because I was crying because we lost. Just care too much about winning. I'm still that guy today. I just do it in a little bit more subtle type of way.